We pray for your protection to be upon our town, our citizens, our employees, and this council. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Okay, council, we'll get started here. We'll go down to item 5, open forum, public comment. And if Councilman Ogle would read the guidelines for us, I would certainly appreciate it.
The council shall provide at least one period for public comment per month during a regular meeting unless no regular is held that month. Any individual or group who wishes to address the council shall inform the clerk any time prior to the start of the meeting and provide their name, address, and subject matter about which they wish to speak. Persons must be present if they wish to address the council. Comments will be limited to 5 minutes per speaker. Open forum is not intended to require council or staff to answer impromptu questions. Speakers will address all comments to the entire council as a whole and not to one individual member. Discussions between speakers and members of the audience will not be permitted. Speakers will maintain, decorum at all times. Speakers are expected to be courteous and respectful at all times, regardless of who occupies the council chairs. These guidelines will help us to ensure that a safe and productive meeting is held and that all those wishing to address the council will be afforded the opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Yes. And tonight, first on our list is Sandy Walker.
And I just had my chimes announced. Sorry, guys. I'm Sandy Walker, 124 Main Street West in Valdese. And the reason the phone's ringing, because mine was stolen last week. And I just wanted to get up, first of all, and thank our police chief for the wonderful help that he has in trying to help me with that. And when I learned how to turn the phone off, I promise that won't happen again. I'm here tonight to speak to you about the... Go away. Somebody, do you know how to turn that off? I thought I had it turned down, but sorry, guys. Anyway, I'm here to speak to you tonight about the fundraising project for the flags. I had volunteered last time to get the money and get the flags for us. And we have met that goal. We purchased 30 flags. I found a company in Pennsylvania, and they were given, for the flag that we purchased, they were given the Valley Forge Award, which is a prestigious award in the quality of the material. We have had 16 merchants and individuals donate for this project. Brickley Insurance, Grace Jewelry, Barkside, J&R's Creations, Dolls and Designs by Sandy, Eccentric Lion, Prep and Ready, Myra's Smashburger and Creamery, Rubby's Fabrics, Still Creek Arms, Barry Zimmerman, Cheryl Tron, Rusty's Antiques, Salon de Belize, Reynolds Family Wellness Center, and the Burke County Republican Party. From those 16 individuals, we paid for all 30 flags. We have 20 more individuals that have indicated they would like to donate, and I have spoken with our scout leader, and what we're going to do, any more money that we collect will be given to them directly for a fund for them to purchase probably another 30 flags. So our flag situation has been taken care of. Town, I just want to thank you so much for working with us and getting all the holes drilled out and everything. And I look forward to the day when we look down Main Street and have all beautifully arranged and matching flags. And we just want to say a heartfelt thank you for everybody working together. And I think Jonas is out of town. He would have been here with me to talk on this as well, but they're on a troop, some kind of training or their summer thing that they do. So I'm sure he'll be in later on to give you an update and follow up on the on what they're doing and the arrangements that we are getting made. And one last thing, I see on the agenda that you're going to be talking about a pool cover donation fund. Well, put me down to donate $500 towards that fund if you pass it and decide to do that. Dolls and Designs will sponsor that, and we think that's a very worthy effort. And I want to just compliment the town on everybody, what you're working on and how you're getting things together, the budget that you're working on this year. I'm just really proud of what everybody's done, and I just say God bless you and Godspeed. Thank you.
Thank you. Azam Kamal, sir.
Good afternoon, all. Azam Kamal, 329 North Rotary Street, Valdese. I really came here to talk about the sewer, and I understood today is that we're going to be discussing the budget, so this is going to be short. That's all. I was going to ask about the budget and Rotary Street sewer line, and apparently that's a discussion for today, so I have nothing else to add. I would like to thank Alan, the Public Works. He has come to our house to, I don't know, a bunch of times since the sewer, and whatever day, time, their pressure and, you know, that, whatever that's called, the sewer pressure, cleans it out. So it is happening. I'm looking forward to hearing about what you guys are going to talk about in the discussion with the budget. So that's all I got.
Thank you.
45 seconds.
You win the award. Okay, council, next item on the agenda, number 6, is the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve those items on the consent agenda?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to remove item C, the minutes of the June 2 meeting.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, entertain a motion to approve items 6A and 6B.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Those in favor signify by saying yes and raising your right hand.
Yes.
Seeing none opposed, motion carries. Okay, item 7, new business, and we will revert back to item C, approval of regular meeting minutes from June 2nd. Mr. Harvey.
Let's see, I have a comment, but let me just move, I move that we approve the June 2nd minutes, and then if there's a second, I'll have a comment or two.
Okay. Council, we have a motion. I need a second, please.
Second.
Okay. Mr. Harvey.
Just two brief comments. One is, there's maybe a little bit of confusion about the item in their minutes that was dealt with a mobile food unit. As the minutes state, Councilwoman Lohman made a motion that we asked the town manager to do some research, to work with our attorney and our planning board to come up with some information about mobile food trucks for Valdese, seconded by Councilman Harvey. Mr. Herms asked for clarification on whether the motion included the preparation of a draft ordinance. Councilwoman Lohman confirmed that it did. The vote was unanimous and the motion carried. So I just want to clarify, there's no question. I think we're expecting the manager to come up with an ordinance. And then a second comment is one where we were talking about a failed resolution of civility, and this, I'm quoted there, and it was correctly, Councilman Harvey expressed confusion over the resistance to the proposed resolution, noting that council members had ample time to review and discuss it. He explained that the resolution was drafted by Attorney Swanson, reflects what he believed was a shared agreement among council members, while acknowledging that everyone complies with the code of ethics. He stated the resolution simply formalizes that commitment in writing. Well, I did express confusion, and I was confused at that time, but I think now the confusion in looking back on it, and for anybody who refers to the minutes, is regret, because I think the reason we could not get 3 votes to pass that resolution is that council members, again, some council members intend to engage in campaigning in the 2023 election.
Okay. I have a motion and a second to approve the June 2nd meetings. Those in favor signify by saying yes and raise your right hand.
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries. Okay. New business, item A, budget status updates. Mr. Weichel. And the first item on that is projected fiscal year 25 general fund balance.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Try to get this microphone in the center. Okay. So there's a couple items under this here. A projected fund balance. So there's been some chatter as we get closer to the end of the budget year. What's our fund balance going to be looking like? So I will say disclaimer that, we still got some time left in this budget year. Things are still happening. But trying to look at just a bird's eye view of where I think the fund balance is going to shake out at. I think overall we're going to end up about 200,000 more than where we were last year. That's in dollars. And percentage-wise, I think we'll drop a little bit because our expenditures have gone up slightly over last year. So I think we're going to shake out right around 100% fund balance, which is still a very healthy fund balance. So, of course, we'll know more solid numbers once the auditors get here and audit the financial statements and do their calculations. So,
Okay.
Mr. Weichel, I think we all know that you buy things with dollars and not with percents. So, just clarify, that fund balance is the unrestricted funds that the town has available, correct? Mm-hmm. And the total, which you're estimating to be about $7,183,000, that's the highest in dollars the town has ever had, isn't it?
as far as I know, it has, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Good.
Yep.
Anyone else? Okay, public safety fund update.
So just a quick overview. So currently we have a public safety fund. Remember, that's outside of the general fund itself. So it's actually Fund 35. And it carries its own cash balance. So it has a cash balance of $809,000. If the Pine Bur Avenue sale goes through, then that'll add another $148,000, making $958,000 available in that fund. So just a little update on that project fund.
Mr. Weichel, does that include that $250,000 grant we received several years ago from the General Assembly for the public safety? Is that in that money? We
Are you
got
speaking about
Representative Blackwell,
Okay, so that was a $500,000
or
grant?
500, okay.
Yep. It does, because we received that money, but we've already expended it. So it's just just looking at the total cash. So,
Okay,
yeah. So had we not gotten that, then our cash balance would be, $458.
Okay.
So, yeah.
thank you.
But that $500,000 grant, we spent or wasted about half of that on the architect that we fired, didn't we?
Yeah, part of it went to that, part of it went to the Pine Bur property purchase.
Yeah, well, and the other thing is, on that fund balance, that public safety fund balance, we drew that down twice, I believe, in the last year, purchasing 215 Main Street property for $360,000, and then purchasing the 200 Massell Avenue property for $400,000. So when the public safety facility is all done, when it's under contract and we know what direction we're going with it finally, we should be able to sell either that Main Street property, which if we don't use it for the police station, or if we do use it and we use the Massell Avenue property, we'll have the 121 Fayette Street complex, which is 2 or 3 acres to sell. So there's another roughly $400,000 of real estate that the town will be able to dispose of at some point in time, which will bring that up back up to around 1.5 million.
Anyone else? Street resurfacing funds.
All right, just a quick update on this. So we do have a project fund for street resurfacing. The current cash balance in there is $501,500. If we add the upcoming budget allocation of $325,000, that makes $826,000 available for street paving.
How
And
much was that, Bo? Say that again.
$826,000. And then we also, outside of that, we have a PAL bill fund, PAL bill balance. So as we get PAL bill funds every year, compared to what we expend, if there's a surplus, that goes into a separate fund for that. Currently in that fund, we have $111,000. So this can be used for things like resurfacing, potholes, sidewalks, even street maintenance equipment, things like that. So that money is sitting there too, that we can use for those type of things. And we have been using some of that for pothole repair. But overall, for street paving, we've got $826 in that fund. So,
Yeah, and the other thing that we've talked about in the past, I mean, we would have street resurfacing going on right now if it weren't for that nasty Hurricane Helene, which moved the state's Department of Transportation contractor west of here and all the asphalt with it. But in any event, one of the things we talked about was if we had gone ahead with that plan that we had, which would have paved 7.3 miles of resurfaced, 7.3 miles of streets, the town could have borrowed about half of it, the balance of it, and then paid it back out of POW bill funds over the next few years. So POW bill is anybody who's not watching this is highway use tax that the state sends to municipalities, shares with municipalities. And we used to get 140-some thousand. Now this year we're getting close to 200,000, I believe.
correct. Yep. That calculation is based on your population and the miles of streets that you have.
Anybody else? Pending grants overview.
All right, so we've got the $500,000 grant for the ADA and pool bubble work. So that is a reimbursement type grant, so the majority of that work's not being done until the fall. So I think we're looking at like a late September. So once all that's done, then we'll put the package together and submit for that $500,000 to come back. So that's kind of an update on that one. The $800,000 for the Valdese Bluffs, remember that was a direct state appropriation for that. So good news on that, I've got written confirmation from DWI that they're gonna go ahead and let us do a partial project since we don't have the full, remember, this is the project we don't have the full money for. So we've got our engineers right now working with the low bidder, who is Iron Mountain, and they're gonna design the project what makes the best sense to fit the budget. So it might be part of the sewer line and put the pump station in, or do all the sewer line and leave the pump station out, whatever works best for the budget. So, but we're full steam ahead on that. So we're hoping to bring that contract to council at the August meeting. Okay. And the $950,000 grant for the Marcel Avenue sidewalk, I don't really have an update on that. I think they're meeting a little bit later this month to make a final determination on that.
Yeah, that one is on the agenda for Wednesday of this week, the agenda of the Transportation Advisory Committee of the Greater Hickory Metropolitan Organization. And I just want to say it again because I don't think we can say it too many times. You add all those up, it's $2.25 million of grants that the town has gained here, really in this past few months. The $500,000 grant for the ADA upgrades and the pool cover, which Mr. Welkel got turned around. The ARPA grant, that's great news that we just got tonight, that's coming through. And the $950,000 sidewalk grant for Massillon Avenue, we got because we turned back 1.1 million we were sitting on a sidewalk project that the council did not want to touch. So there's $2.25 million of grants that's come into the town. There's been a lot of misinformation floating around the town in the last few months about the council making bad decisions and losing grants. Not the case. We didn't lose any grants at all. We repurposed a couple of them, but we're $2.25 million ahead of where we were at the beginning of the year. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Well, I got one more question before you sit down. You look like you're heading for the
Well, I was
seat.
going to, but okay.
The revenues budgeted, we're gonna have a budget hearing, aren't we? We're gonna have a hearing?
It's on the agenda, yeah.
Okay, I'll save that question for the hearing.
Okay.
Thank you, Bo. Okay, item B, pool cover capital fund drive launch. Mr. Harvey, I believe you put that on there.
Well, I put it on there, but the council approved a capital fund drive for the pool cover in December, and I've asked about it a few times, what's the status of it? I think it's up to the staff to implement it. The last response we got from the last interim manager was that, well, we might hire a firm to undertake the fund drive. What does the council want to do? I don't think the council has answered that question, so I wonder if, Mr. Herms, if you could tell us how we can kick that off. And just a comment on that, it was thought that we had to do a fixed structure in order to get that grant, get a $500,000 grant, because that's the way it was written. But Mr. Weichel got that one, he salvaged that one. And then there was some discussion about, well, if it's going to cost, and that cost jumped from, the council was convinced to hire an architect based on an estimate for that fixed structure. It was going to be maybe $700,000. And the architect said it's going to be $1.3 million. Then the architect got bids, and it's going to be $1.9 million, $1.8 million. So, meanwhile, we spent $90,000 on the architect chasing misinformation that this is something that might cost $700,000 when it was really going to be $1.8 million. So, at any rate, that reserve fund that we just talked about a little bit ago is down $90,000 because of the architectural fees that we paid on something that the council decided we couldn't afford. So at any rate, there was a proposal to undertake a fund drive to raise $300,000 for the 1.3 million or the 1.8 million cover. And the council approved the fund drive, but how do we get the fund drive off the ground? I've had people contact me, people who live in other counties, say, you know, how can we contribute to this fund drive that was approved some time ago? So that's where we are, and I'm wondering, you know, how can we get this thing going?
I mean, so we can start, if council so wishes, we can try to do it at a staff level. I do not know if we have any experience doing fundraisers. I don't know that answer. I do know there are some outside companies that have expertise in that. I have no idea what they charge. I would assume they have a base fee plus a percentage of whatever they collect, would be my assumption. Once council gives us some direction, we can move forward in either way y'all see fit.
Do you need further direction from the council? We approved the fund drive. Do you need some further motion?
So
I think
wasn't-
what's needed is they need to know if we're gonna let staff do it or if we're gonna hire someone.
Yeah, yes, so, that'd be the question I would have, because this, again, I wasn't here when y'all discussed this, but, if you so choose to have an outside agency come in, they may have a better handle on how to go about doing it than staff does. Because typically, staff doesn't do a whole lot of fundraisers.
That's right, and it would be a burden on the staff to do that. I'd be all for having professional, fund drive firm do it. Yeah, I mean, the one thing we established is that we have more non-residents using the pool in the wintertime than we have residents. And so let's, we know who those non-residents are. Let's put the bite on them to help pay for this thing, at least the $90,000 that we've shown out so far. So that's, my other question is, are we gonna need a motion tonight to do it outside or inside, or do you wanna just get proposals and then bring it back to us?
Yes, if that's something council so wishes, I'll get proposals and bring back, because I'm assuming, again, I'm assuming a lot tonight, so, don't hold me to it. I'm assuming there was no fees in the budget to cover this, correct? So let's get some proposals and see what it comes back at, and we will, bring it back maybe at the August meeting. If that's, isn't that our next meeting is August? Yeah.
Fine. There is a little bit in there now, isn't there? A little bit of funds that have been,
In the project budget there are, but the operational budget, there's not.
I mean, some donations though. There's been some donations.
Yes,
Not much.
okay.
Anyone else? Moving on to item C. Council, the next item under new business is a public hearing for the adoption of the 2025-2026 budget hearing and ordinance. Okay, at this time, I will declare the public hearing open. And Mr. Weipel, are you going to do this, or Mr. Harms?
I really didn't plan on to come up here for this, but usually we'll just go down through here, and if there's a public hearing, just let someone come up and speak, and then we'll go through the adoption of each one. I really don't have anything to talk about in specific unless there's questions,
Okay,
so,
that's fine.
okay.
Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak about the budget for the 25-26 fiscal year?
I do, sir.
Go ahead.
With the,
If you would, come to the podium, state your name and address, please.
Justin Radaball, 6823 McGalliard Point Drive, Northeast, Valdese, North Carolina. So with the bubble eventually going to take place, are we going to have a line item for the budget for every year, the maintenance, the upkeep on it? I know in the past it has slipped off. I don't believe there was, excuse me, a line budget.
The best I recall from putting budgets together for the fire department, there is a line item for maintenance, yes.
So is there going to be one specifically for the bubble, or?
Mr. Weichel? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? He's going to answer it when he comes up.
I'm just looking at the budget, Azam Kamal, 329 North Rotary Street, 1.155 million, I think it's for 2026. Is that when you guys think the work will be starting, or is that just?
You're talking about for the sewer line?
Yeah, for Rotary Street. Any idea?
I can't answer when the work would start,
Yeah.
because I don't think we've done any of that task with everything that's involved with
Excuse me,
that.
sir, are you asking fiscal year 26?
Just reading.
Yeah, so,
For Rotary.
so the budget is the fiscal year 25-26 budget. That's the name of it, because that's when it ends.
Okay,
So the money will be available in July 1, and we'll bid it out. Now, when we do the project, I don't know.
all right,
So
okay.
Yeah, it's a little deceiving when you look at it. It's named the 25-26 budget. It's
And-
because it's when it ends.
So you said July 1st of this year, right?
Yes,
Okay.
in like a couple of days,
Oh, okay,
okay?
all right. And that's for the approval, or?
No, they're gonna
That's just-
approve it tonight. That's when it becomes effective.
I got you.
And it runs till June 30th, 2026.
So you guys gonna approve it? All right, thank you all.
I think to help clarify for Mr. Kamal, he wants to know
About the sewer.
if the replacement of the sewer line on Rotary Street is in this budget or not.
Yes,
It is in the budget,
yes,
and it'll be
gonna happen.
underway sometime after July 1st.
yes.
Got you. Thank you.
It's gonna happen.
Anyone else? Okay.
I do have a question for Mr. Wyckoff before you close this hearing. I noticed that this budget is, the total revenue in this budget is about $58,000 or $59,000 less than what we expect to have as total revenue this year when we close out fiscal year 25 on June 30. So I just wonder if you just give us kind of a general response of why the revenue is going down a little bit, since I come out of a world where it's got to go up every year.
Sure. Well, if you look at last year's projected, it's a couple $100,000 more than what we projected last year. The biggest driver for that is our investment income. What we're projecting to get in investment income with the current budget versus what we're projecting next year is like $250,000 difference, $250,000 more now. Now, we could easily end up at that next year, but there's a couple of uncertainties. You always got the interest rate, but more importantly, if we're going to start kicking off these projects, that's going to be less funds that we have to invest. So that's going to bring our investment income down. So we don't want to project more than what we think we're going to get. We want to be on the conservative side. So that's why you got that gap there. It looks like we're going to make 58,000 more this year than we're projecting next year. But if we're in the same situation we are next year, then we'll definitely exceed that. So that's the biggest reason why.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm with you. We always sandbag a little bit now, and interest income is a good one because you don't have that until you get it. But there are some other major revenue areas like sales tax. That ought to, if people are going to be spending more money, sales tax ought to go up. And then we spent $1.5 million renovating the Old Rock School so we could charge more for admission for things and rent. So that ought to go up. We're bringing back cold weather swimming starting in October, so we ought to get some more income from cold weather swimmers.
Yeah, and all our revenues are up a little bit. Even ABC store revenues are up. Like you said, the recreation community center memberships are up. It's just that's the biggest gap is that interest income. That's the biggest unknown. So
it's all up to Mr. Powell and Mr. Trump to work that out.
there you go.
Bo, if you would mention something that I really like we're doing is the First Tron Advisors. Will you just talk a little bit about that to our public that are
Let's
watching
finish
tonight?
the public
Oh,
hearing
okay, I'm
first,
sorry.
please. You don't need to be sorry.
So I'll do you want to respond to the public hearing comments first, and then
That'd
you
be
want to close
fine.
it? Okay. So as far as the maintenance and repair item for the new dome structure, so we do have that built in into the budget because we've got not only the repair items, but the maintenance of putting it up, putting it down in a responsible manner, storing it. So all of that is included with that. So going forward each year, we'll have that money built in to handle those items.
Okay.
Okay. And then as far as the Rotary sewer line, as soon as the budget's adopted, our engineers will get to work on the design for that. We're gonna make that priority #1 project. So they'll get to work the design. Once they get the design ready, which shouldn't take too long because it's a pretty straightforward project, we'll go out for bids, and I can't guarantee a timeline, but I'm hoping we'll have bids in hand by September, October, and get rolling on that.
Okay. Did you hear that? Yeah, I'm glad to get that done.
Can I say something? We have a closed session here, right?
No, we're in public hearing.
My name is Rick McClure. I live at 408 Grove Avenue. And basically, I'm here to brag on Bo. What he's been doing with our finances for the last couple of years, that probably a lot of people don't understand. I didn't understand it either, so I kind of got in learning stuff, but he has saved Valdese. He has got Valdese a lot of money over the past couple of years by the way he works our finances every year. And that is great because I think he underestimates what he's gonna have at the end of the year, but it's always come up above that. And, finances kind of screws me up every now and then, but I have noticed what he's been doing, and I just want to brag on him and what he's done for the town of Valdese in the last couple of years. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that wishes to speak? Hearing none, then I declare this public hearing closed. Mr. Wyckoff.
I'm just here to answer any questions you got.
Council, you have any questions?
Once again, I just wanted you to speak about the First Tron advisors, that the financial advising program that we are adopting to use with this budget adoption.
Yeah. So, and we've actually got a contract on the agenda about this. So first, Tryon Advisors, it's a new concept that we're introducing with this budget, but similar to how we have a financial model for the utility fund, they're going to provide a financial model for the general fund. They also, beyond that, they offer these financial services that are going to be important for these upcoming projects that we're doing. They have leverage with these banks to get the best rate they can, more so than we do at a staff level because they work with them every day. So they're going to be a key, not just for the financial model that they're going to build for us and that we can maintain year to year, but also ongoing services, financial services. They also work with the LGC to help facilitate their approval of these projects as well. So they're kind of a one-stop shop for us to make sure our finances are continue to be in line and projecting future growth and things like that.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Hearing none. Council, I'll entertain a motion for the approval and adoption of the fiscal year 2025, 2026 budget ordinance.
I make a motion to
Thank you.
approve.
Second, please.
Second?
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the adoption of the 25-26 budget ordinance, signify by saying yes and raising your right hand.
Yes.
Seeing none opposed, motion carries. Congratulations, Bo and Todd. Thank you.
Mayor, if we can, since we handled, I think that's the title of C4, let's go ahead and vote on C1, 2, and 3 as well.
Okay, we can do that. Okay, council, on your agenda, under item C, you see items 1, 2, and 3. I'll entertain a motion to adopt those. We can do it together in one motion? Okay. One motion to adopt items 1, 2, and 3.
I move that we adopt fiscal year 25-26 fee schedules, the general fund capital improvement plan, and the utility capital improvement plan.
Okay, I have a motion. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Okay. Further discussion? Those in favor signify by saying yes and raising your right hand.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Okay, item D, approval of agreement with Western Piedmont Council of Governments for planning assistance.
So this is a renewal of the current contract we have. It expired to the end of this month for the planning assistance because we don't have a planning director right now. That search continues to go on, but in the meantime, the COG is willing to help us out with this. So this contract is built in the budget already that we just approved, and it goes for a period of 2 years. But with that, we also have a clause in there to 30-day written notice to opt out of that contract. So if we do find the right person for that job, then we can transition to that without being locked in for a full 2 years. So that's what this is doing here, just a renewal of what we already have.
Okay. Questions, council?
The only question that I had was something that was brought to my attention, and I believe I'm reading it correctly, that it's not this case, but a citizen came up to me saying, well, are we paying for everything that the COG should be paying for as far as conferences, things like that? But it looks like when I'm reading, it is saying it's only if we agree to take care of those things, correct? Okay,
Correct,
because, yeah, I was just making sure I was reading that correctly. I thank you for getting that on record. Thanks.
Anyone else? Okay, I'll entertain a motion for the adoption of item D, approval of agreement with Western Piedmont Council of Governments for planning assistance.
I move that we approve the agreement with Western Pennsylvania Council of Governments for planning assistance.
Second, please.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying yes.
Since I made the motion,
Do what?
Since I made the motion, I'd like to make a comment. I hope this is short-term and that we find somebody to do this job full-time for us.
Yes. Great.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't realize how important a planner is.
Yes.
They're very, very important. And I know nothing about planning, but we got to find somebody, there's no question, full-time.
Anyone else? We'll call for a vote. Those in favor signify by saying yes and raising your right hand.
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item E, approval of agreement with Western Piedmont Council of Governments for assistance in supporting the Western Piedmont Stormwater Partnership.
Okay, so this is, again, a real renewal. This is a partnership that we've had with the COG for many years. Stormwater is something that is a little more complicated than any one staff member can handle. So they have a specialized unit that takes care of this. That's why it's more cost-effective to go through them, because they do it for the Unit 4 region as a whole. So this is a 2-year contract for them to continue doing our stormwater management program. They do a lot of reporting to the state for us and things like that. So again, this is a 2-year contract. It's already built in the budget we just passed. And it ends on June of 2027. So we didn't have to do it last year, but we did the year before. So it's every 2 years.
Okay. Questions, council?
Could you elaborate on that a little bit? That's, it's a fascinating proposal, I think. So tell us a little more about where this could go and what kind of timeline we might be looking at.
Take care of that a little bit. So the stormwater is a phase 2 stormwater is a federally mandated law that we have to comply with, and you got to have a certain level of expertise in that. It is akin to having like an engineering, a PE stamp. We're having trouble hiring a planner. It would be impossible to hire someone currently with this qualification. So, and it's not just us. There's 28 cities in uniform, and I would guess that the COG probably does more than half of them, because it's not enough work to keep one person busy, but if you take 12 or 14 towns and put them together, it's enough work to keep that person busy. But it's fairly mandated that we comply with it. And what it is so when you go out and do construction projects, you've noticed in the last few years, there's retention ponds that everybody builds. That's one aspect of it. They have to go out and inspect those, have to approve those. It's very technical. And it's basically, it's for impervious surfaces. So when the water hits, the more impervious surface you have, the more calculation you gotta do, so it controls flooding. It's very, that's the best as I can explain it right now, but it is mandated that we comply with that ordinance. And I don't know of anyone else that we could contract with in this area.
But this is tied into Hurricane Helene.
No,
Oh, it's not?
no.
What am I on the wrong,
Different agenda
am I on the
item.
wrong motion
Yeah.
here?
Yeah,
Wrong
that's a
item.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay.
Take that all back.
You had me confused there.
Yeah, I was,
Okay, anyone else?
Would this be something that would help with like the situation, this person, would they be able to help with okay,
This
You
is
can-
for like when you come and build a project.
okay. So nothing that's
So
like
anything that was
currently
built before,
okay.
and I don't wanna tell you a lie, but I wanna say 2006, 7, 8, 9, somewhere in that time frame, has to comply with phase 2 stormwater.
Gotcha, all right. There's no reason.
Anybody else? Okay, council, I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the agreement with Western Piedmont Council of Governments for assistance in supporting the Western Piedmont Stormwater Partnership.
So move.
Thank you. May I have a second, please?
Second,
Thank you. Those in favor signify by saying yes and raising your right hand.
yes.
Motion carries. Thank you, council. Thank you, Bo. Item F. And I think, Bo, you're on with the First Tron Financial Advisors.
Yep, okay. So we're just getting all these contracts knocked out since we approved the budget, so these are all included. Again, we just talked about First Tryon, but this is the agreement with them to go ahead and do the financial, starting that financial model that we talked about, and also just a general services agreement for them to be available when we need them for certain specialized projects, or like the going out for loans or something like that. So that's what this is doing here.
Questions, council? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the agreement with First Tron Financial Advisors.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the agreement with First Tron Financial Advisors.
Second?
Second,
Thank you. Further discussion?
Yeah, this is for 1 year at a time, is that correct? And we paid $25,000 to get into this. Is that
Right, so that's a one-time expense.
A one-time expense.
Yeah,
And then what is the expense after that?
whenever we need their services, so it's like an on-call type thing.
So, and then we pay for their services as they come back and provide those services to us, is that right?
Right, that's
Okay.
right, so.
Do you know, Bo, when this would kick off? I mean, do you have a time frame yet? How
Well-
soon they would start the build or review our materials?
Yeah, as soon as we get this approved and we can get it to them, I imagine they'll get started right away so that we can utilize this for the next budget process, is my hope, so.
Okay.
Yep.
I didn't know if they had to wait for like the audit report, because don't they work off some of the
They do,
audit
yeah,
information?
yeah.
So,
And they have a template how they do everything, so I don't imagine it'll take them entirely too long, but they will need that audit report, you're right.
Okay. Anyone else? I have a motion and a second. Those in favor signify by saying yes and raising your right hand.
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item G, approval of resolutions to apply for supplemental Helene funding through DWI. And that's not driving while impaired.
So this is something that's actually popped up in the last couple of weeks. And the reason why we got it on the agenda tonight is there's an application deadline of August 1st. So this is, we don't have another meeting until then. So we've got this on here. This is something that's popped up. DWI has some funding available for Helene impacted areas. And we qualify as one of those areas. And what they're really focused on is resiliency. They want to see towns and counties working together to be more resilient in case there is another natural disaster to happen. So they really want to fund projects that can work in cohesion. For example, one item would be for us to work on a project which would require a new tank and new lines and things, but something where we could send water to Morganton if they go down, and vice versa. If we go down, they can send water to us. So that's just big picture stuff here, but they've got $650 million in funding for Western North Carolina. We're gonna try to get as much as we can out of this. So what we're doing is putting together a list of projects, throwing them out there, and seeing what sticks and what they would want to fund for us. The first step of that is to get council to approve a resolution for, two resolutions, one for water and then one for wastewater. So we're just kind of doing big picture right now. This is just a formality. It doesn't tie us into anything specific, any specific project. Once those do start working and we get some funding awarded, hopefully, then we'll bring that to council for the next steps. But this is just big picture. Here's how much we need of that $650 million pie that we're trying to get.
Questions, council?
You need two motions?
No,
Or you
just
may
one.
approve two things,
Just one,
Yeah, there's 2 resolutions to approve.
two resolutions?
Yeah.
but one motion will
One
be
motion.
sufficient.
Could you, just for citizens out there, explain what DWI stands for? So
It's the Division of Water Infrastructure. Yep. It's a-
One thing that I'm glad to see this is that it does ensure resiliency and backup for our water. We're already working with the city of Lenore on a interconnection, which will help both municipalities. Helps Lenore because they don't have enough water, but it also helps us because if we lose water at the plant, which we have done, I know of twice, due to hurricanes and ice storms. So this will just be another layer of resiliency for us, and that's a good thing. Thank you for working on that. Okay, council questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the resolutions to apply for supplemental Helene SRF water funds and to apply for supplemental Helene SRF wastewater funds.
Okay.
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I just think this is great. I know there are a lot of vestiges of this hanging out there. For example, the Drexel town manager one time told me, or a former town manager told me, that they made a decision one time to keep an interconnect with Valdese active, even though they're not buying water from Valdese now in case they ever needed to. So this would help that happen. Morganton certainly, it'd be great to be able to connect with them because they produce water cheaply. We've been hearing from our triple community water customers who live right next to Morganton Water. But I just think this is a wonderful thing, and I just hope that it gets some results.
Anyone else?
There's no match with this either.
No match?
Right.
Okay, no matching funds, okay. Seeing none, those in favor signify by saying yes and raising your right hand.
Yes.
Motion carries. Okay, town manager's report.
Hopefully my 6 items on the agenda will be a lot faster than both. I was telling someone, this is the first time in my career that I had someone to do most of the budget heavy lifting, and it was very much appreciated, so thank you both. First thing on the manager's report is the DR Rentals Design Build contract status. We met with them. We've walked all the properties. We spent pretty much an entire day with them. As it stands right now, they're looking to have a contract for our lawyer to review the first week in July to come before council if we can get everything worked out in August. Then the time frame is October, November, December, most likely December time frame for them to bring back a cost estimate for the different projects that we would like for them to review. On that note, I want to inform council, and I've talked to each of you individually, but just so the public will know, there's no way for us to bring every single thing back to this council every single month, because if you do that, it just, everything gets slowed down. So I will make sure council's informed of everything, but if it's non-budgetary, sometimes we're just gonna have, as project manager, I'm just gonna have to make a decision. Nothing will be budgetary, and nothing of significant change will occur without council being aware of it. And if there's any controversy, we will wait or call a special meeting. Okay? But sometimes, you gotta have, sometimes it's easier to have one person than it is 7. So, but that'd be all non-budgetary items, okay? Especially until we get the ball rolling.
Next thing is the Family Fun Summer Concert Series continues each Friday night from 7 to 10 until the end of August. Valdese Independence Day celebration will be Friday, July 4th at 6 p.m. on Main Street. For a full schedule of events, please visit valdese.com. Old Colony Players presents an historical outdoor drama on July 11th through the August 9th in the amphitheater Saturdays and Sundays at 8 p.m. The next agenda review for council meeting will be scheduled Monday, July 28th at 6 p.m. in this room, in this building. The next regular scheduled meeting will be August 4th at 6 p.m. in this room, in this building. And what's not on here, and if you hadn't checked your phones, and I'm gonna take a little bit of a minute of levity because I got family in the military, and, Iran and Israel just signed a ceasefire agreement, so that's good news for everyone that's involved.
Thank you, Todd. Mayor, council comments. Time's running out. You better
Mr.
jump.
Mayor, I'm sorry, but there are a couple of major events coming up here between now and the next council meeting. I know it's, everybody's time is valuable and it's hot outside. We want to get out of this air conditioning into our air conditioning at home, but I would like to ask the mayor and the council's indulgence to take about 8 minutes here to go through some comments I've prepared about the upcoming couple of weeks. May I do that? I think that is a yes. So I want to address the citizens of Valdese as we come to the end of this June 23 council meeting with a special request to step forward. There will be two critical events between now and the next town council meeting, which will be on July 28. On July 4, Valdese will celebrate our nation's 249th anniversary with the rest of the country. At 8 a.m. on July 7, the Burke County filing opens for 4 Valdese council seats, the mayor and council members representing wards 1, 2, and 3. My Ward 1 seat will be on the ballot, but I will not be on the ballot, nor will I be campaigning for anyone else on the ballot. That's why I am taking this time to address the upcoming filing. Until they file, we cannot know who will file for election. Since this will be my last public statement on the matter, I want to share 3 things with all residents who love this town, Valdese. First, there's never been a better time to serve this community where you were raised and may have raised a family. Second, you too can realize one of the most inspirational experiences in your life. And third, how can you ensure that tax dollars you, your family, and friends have worked so hard to earn will be used wisely? To my first point about why the time is right, a recent change ensures that anyone can afford to run for the council. This council removed us old elected officials from the employee group health insurance plan, saving the town $30,000 from what the town council cost the town in 2023. At the same time, that change provides annual compensation of $8,000 for council members and $10,000 for the mayor. If you get elected, that's more in 1 year than you could possibly spend on campaign signs. But there are even bigger reasons why there has never been a better time to serve on the council. This town has never had a stronger manager and management team. It's just one example of the 20 years of experience Mr. Herms brings to Valdese. He's made it eminently clear to employees that the personnel policy prohibiting employee involvement in council elections will be enforced. That's important, as who can forget that the last manager bet his job on engaging town employees in the 2023 election. Even more important, the town has never been in a stronger financial position. The unrestricted reserves fund of over $7 million is the highest ever. Further plans and designated funding include a solid 10-year plan to continuously improve the water and sewer systems. Nearly $1 million and a plan to begin resurfacing more of the town's streets than have been resurfaced in the last 15 years as soon as the North Carolina Department of Transportation catches up with Hurricane Helene repairs. Several viable options are available to meet the public safety facility needs, along with a manager with deep experience in similar facility challenges. Second, I want to share one of my most inspirational experiences. In 2023, I set out each day in the summer to knock on 20 to 60 doors, visiting over 400 homes and talking with hundreds of residents. Every conversation was inspirational. At one of the larger homes in Springwood, a couple who had moved here from New York thanked me for stopping and said, "We were waiting to see who would ask for a vote." Most of my visits were to the smaller, older homes in Valdese with folks like the couple who asked me to put a sign where they parked their car before they lost it. Both were on disability, and they were arranging a payment plan to save their home after receiving the 2023 tax bill, which had doubled their property taxes. I could share dozens of similar examples of how inspirational it was to hear from hundreds of residents who are intelligent, love Valdese, and were so appreciative to be listened to. But let me jump to my third point, your hard-earned money. Again, no one has filed for election, so there's no way to know who will run for office until the filing period begins in 2 weeks on July 7 and ends at noon on July 18. Meanwhile, some indications on social media should encourage all longtime Valdese residents to think about running for the council, and I hope you will. It appears that a political action committee that's being directed by someone who doesn't live in Valdese has held a fundraising event and set up a fundraising website. Supposedly, the donations are to pay the campaign expenses for 4 individuals who can't file for election for another 2 weeks. Those 4 positions can receive $34,000 of town funds in the first year if elected. Do they expect taxpayers to also contribute to their $10 filing fee and advertising expenses? But here are the greater concerns about the 5 individuals associated with that fundraising effort.
Mr. Harvey, I think you're kind of crossing the line a little
Sorry?
bit. You're campaigning.
I'm not campaigning, no, sir.
Yes, sir.
No, sir,
You
I'm
need to
saying, I'm
stop.
exercising my First Amendment right.
You're out of
I'm
order,
not
sir.
campaigning. I'm sorry.
You're out of order, sir.
I'm not out of order. You're out of order, Mr. Mayor.
You're out of order, sir.
I'm not out of order.
You are. You're campaigning, sir.
I'm not campaigning. There's no campaign. I'm not campaigning. I'm not running.
Mr. Harvey, you're out of order, sir.
I'm sorry, I'm not out of order.
Yes, sir, you are.
Mr. Swanson, why am I out of order?
I'm gonna need to look at the rules of procedure, but I assume that the argument would be that you're making these statements in your official capacity in your seat as a council member as opposed to your individual capacity as not a council member.
Exactly.
But what is my statement, though?
Your statement is as an official council member. You're making.
But it's not a political statement. It's not a campaign statement.
Well, I think you're making statements against someone who is campaigning.
No, I'm
Yes.
not. I'm
Yes,
not.
you have.
Nobody's campaigning.
Sir, you're out of order. Okay?
You see, that's what societies that are in trouble in this world suffer from. They suffer from freezing discussion.
This is improper discussion from an elected position on council. We need to move on.
Mr. Mayor, you've been out of order so many times in the last 2 years that I don't know how you can even sit there and say that, but
It's easy.
fine. I'll submit this to anybody that wants to publish it. I'll publish it, but
Anyone else have any comments?
I would just like everyone to realize we have a few more months to work together. It is hard to take things serious as far as saying things from a position, from being on the council and addressing things politically when there's a lot of two-sidedness that happens. And I remember sitting in the audience and being told that we did not have any drug issues in this town repeatedly, and it was campaigning, in my opinion, what happened. So I can understand why tensions are high right now. I would encourage everybody just to take a step back, because this is why I pushed for, let's stay away from campaigning for each other, because it does tend to bring out the bad things. Let's just use wisdom. I plead with you all, use wisdom in the next few weeks. Use wisdom in your words, be kind, choose kindness, choose positivity. Our town is too great to pull that into it. Love God, love people. That's all I'm gonna say. And keep praying for Israel and Iran. They signed a ceasefire. I think we should do it too. So, but I appreciate it.
Anyone else?
Yeah, the problem is, in 2023, we had 6 people up here who campaigned, used their influence of their position to campaign, and what's shaping up in 2025 is the same thing.
Okay, council, at this time, I'll entertain a motion to go into closed session under North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A3 to consult with an attorney retained by the town in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege between the town attorney and the town council, which privilege is hereby acknowledged. Motion, please.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Those in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Okay, at this time, we'll enter a closed session, and no action will be taken in that closed session. Ready? Okay, council, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the council meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Those in favor signify by saying yes.
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 Motion to adjourn approved. Thank you, council.